Hello, Guardians. It is Ebontis here, and we are back in another week of Destiny 2. It is September 15th, and we are 8 weeks away from the launch of Beyond Light, which does sound like a long time, don't get me wrong. But as some of you guys are still working on catalysts and exotic weapons and quests, and some of you guys may even be new to the game, working on catching up before some of these planets and things get sunset, there's quite a bit that you can be doing. Some of you guys may be at a very quiet point in the game, but there are a few things that are time limited that I want to kind of cover and remind you guys to make sure you start working on those now, because when it comes to weekly rotations and stuff of that nature, we only have so much time left before quite a bit of the game is going in the Destiny content vault. So let's talk about it. Alright, Guardians, for this week, the first thing that I want to point out is the Nightfall situation. So this week for the Nightfall, the Ordeal, we are going to have the Lake of Shadows being your strike, and whether you go all the way up to Grandmaster, Hero, or whatever, we have 2 times rewards. Now, what does that mean? Well, depending on what difficulty you do these things on, take Master, for example. You guys can see exotic gear should be fairly common by finishing Master. Enhancement prisms, also fairly common. Ascendant shards, uncommon. Of course, if you're doing some of these higher level Nightfalls, make sure you do platinum rewards by killing every one of the champions, your best bet for higher drops. But the deal is you get a chance at double. So even take a Master that's not a Grandmaster, and you get a shot at 2 exotics from the same thing. Now, they had this happen before on accident. A lot of people actually liked it, so they're actually kind of picking this one up and hopefully running with it more, because the grand scheme of stuff to do at this point is not a lot. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the fact that they took this one away till the later part of the season. It actually popped up and then they took it away, and this is where you could pick the other 5 Grandmasters that are not in the main rotation. They're supposed to bring it back towards the end of the season, so again, you'll have a little, probably a couple to like 2 or 3 weeks to work on all of them at the end if you need to. But if you are working on your Grandmasters, you still have to wait and go through them in the weekly rotation for now, which, again, this one is still the Lake of Shadows this week. Now, Lake of Shadows is one that everybody seems to enjoy because it's very farmable, even on very high difficulty. But between just running through it, there's not a lot of things that you actually have to kill. And you can actually go invisible through some things and then just nuke the boss in a bubble with swords, and he still goes down really quick. So this is a very farmable Nightfall, and that's why it's really important to know that this one has double rewards. So if you're looking to farm any of the currencies that you might need, Ascendant Shards, Enhancement Prisms. Now, again, remember, if you farm these things and you only have so many, they're going to go to your Postmaster, and if things are going to your Postmaster, depending on if they're... what are they? I'm blanking on the engrams over here, but all the engrams and blues that you get can bump these things out of your Postmaster. So if you are trying to farm stuff and keep it in your Postmaster, make sure you're careful about that one so you don't get like a stack of, 10 golf balls or something pushed out of your Postmaster. That is not going to feel very good because those are going to take a little while to accumulate. But overall, 2 times rewards on Nightfalls, it's a very good idea. Whatever difficulty you have friends to run it with or however you run it, double rewards is still double rewards. So if you got some Nightfalls to do, this is a great week. And Lake of Shadows, overall, you can burn through them pretty quickly. Next thing to note is the Contact public event, which ties into your interference mission of the week as you're working towards your lore. Now, currently, we're stuck. We're not getting any more lore if you've previously had them, I think, through last week and then this week. Now, if you haven't done interference in like 3 or 4 weeks, you could probably log in, knock it out, and then go get a couple more lore pages. Just keep talking to Eris and get everything that's available. But you cannot finish it. Now, the season, we are obviously far enough in that we should be able to, but I'm guessing the interference mission and the Contact public event where you go do interference for the last time is how the actual season is going to wrap up, or very related to how it's going to wrap up, whether it's a live event, whether it's the final quest towards the end. This is what's going to take us into Beyond Light. So I would imagine at this point, and shout out to Paul Tassi, always jumping in quick and knocking this out. He said nothing changed this week again. So my guess is the last 2 to 3 weeks, max, probably 2 even, is when we're going to get our last like lore book or 2, or however this thing wraps up, is going to be right at the tail end of the season. So I would think between now and most of October, you probably don't need to repeat this one. Yeah, you will get a pinnacle powerful drop from it, so if you're looking for those, that's still a good way to get one of those that's, pretty easy. It just takes some time to do. But if you're looking to complete the lore book, see where this thing ends, it's probably not going to happen for a while. Just my assumption. If something comes up on Twitter, I will let you guys know otherwise. As soon as I know it's actually live, of course, I'll let you guys know. But if you're like, I have done all of them. I didn't see anything new last week. It hasn't changed. So for the time being, you don't really need to worry about finishing Interference if that's like one of those not top priorities for you. Save it for later when we actually get the rest of the lore books, the last like page or two that remains, and we'll go from there. But again, Interference, no new lore this week, nothing new, just kind of a repeat. We're basically stuck at that like end of everything just before we finish it up. And that's probably going to be the end of the season. So again, we've probably got like 6 weeks till that happens. Now, normally I wouldn't talk about the Flashpoint. You would think this would be something that's kind of useless to a lot of people. Well, specifically Tangled Shore is a very important piece for the Flashpoint because when you see the heroic missions come through, they're all related to the Barons. There's one of them that has a very specific ghost tied to it. It's not a ghost. It's like one of the little collectibles for a lore book that you have to go find. It might be a little ghost, but it's a fragment of something in that you can only get in one of the missions. And if you've played all your characters through and haven't been to it before, it's one of those points where you have to do it in that mission. So if you are working on the lore book, and I want to say it's Chronicler, it's been a little while since I've done these things. But Chronicler is the one where you go around and find all the lore books. And then you've also got Wayfarer, which is the other one. These are the two that you're going to want to start working on right now. Because if you haven't yet, now one of the lore books is going to be almost impossible to get. If you haven't started it, it may not happen for you because Chronicler also has Maracina. And this book deals with like the weeks in the Dreaming City. And you've got to go through like 12 in there. So if you haven't started, that one's too late. So if you're working on this one and you got progress, keep it going. Or it's Truth of Power. I cannot remember which one. It's one of those related to the Dreaming City. You have to like, there's a long rotation to go through like 12 or 14 runs of talking to Marasov in her realm. But outside of that one, if you're working on trying to complete all the rest of them, like Varix the Loyal, the Drifter, the Awoken on the Reef, the Tangled Shore, there are certain ones that you have to do on a weekly basis. So check which ones you're looking for. And also, if you need the specific lore from the mission, the adventure that comes from the Tangled Shore one where it's specifically buried in there, there's good websites that will help you find these. I'm just reminding you that it's out here. We have 8 weeks left. Now, theoretically, there's 7 destinations for the Flashpoint. That being said, the last week should be Tangled Shore again, so you might have one more chance. But my advice is not to wait. Try and knock it out now. Just get it done and over with and knock out anything related to this week. So the big key is what you need to do is actually come check and see what adventure is up every day because it will change at the daily reset. And then when you find the one the right day, it should rotate through all of them. Once you find the right one, then you should be able to jump in, knock it out, get the lore, and you're good to go. So pay attention to which one is up every day. I'm blanking on which one it is. I want to say it might be like the mechanic or something. It's a weird one where you have to like, you can't get to that part of the Tangled Shore any other way than doing the heroic adventure. So pay attention to which one's up. If you're looking for that lore book, you probably know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't started yet, dig into it and figure out what it takes because this week is possible. And I'm pretty sure it's not the Mindbender. That one is not one. So it's probably going to be at least another day. But for sure, if you're looking for any of those lore book completions, we're at the point where the flashpoints are going to go through each destination basically one more time. It may end here on the final week again, but every other destination from here forward, you're never probably going to see it again until we get into Beyond Light, and that's what a lot of things are going to change. So keep that in mind. Tangled Shore, try and knock this stuff out now. Other than that, it's a fairly mild week. Now, tomorrow, if you guys have been paying attention, you guys were paying attention to the console stuff. We got the Xbox release date, the prices, and pre-orders. Tomorrow, PlayStation has its event. It's at 3 p.m. Central Time. If you guys want Pacific Time, it's 1 p.m. Pacific. I will be streaming that thing live. If you don't know me completely, I lean in the way of PlayStation. I appreciate both consoles and play a whole bunch on PC, but I'm very intrigued to see what PlayStation finally does, because they're basically the last one to reveal all their cards of prices and games coming at launch and all that stuff. So very curious what's coming. You guys can tune in tomorrow, twitch.tv/Ebontis. I will be streaming the Sony thing live, and of course, I'll also be playing. Friday, we've got the Last Word podcast. Gonna have a good guest on there. Lots to discuss. Pretty much every week we're having really cool guests. So check it out. That one should probably be a morning podcast. It'll be 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Central Time for the podcast, twitch.tv/Ebontis. And other than that, I'm playing different things. So got a Mario game coming up for me that I'm probably going to play on the side. I've got Marvel's Avengers I'm still working through. I'm really trying to organize my thoughts on that one because people will come to stream, ask me what I think about it, and it's honestly a tale of two stories. So I really want to just kind of put a review together for that one. So look tuned for that one on the YouTube channel. And if you guys are new to the channel and you enjoy the content, whether it's updates, guides, whatever it is I do, drop a like below, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that alert bell. YouTube's algorithms are crazy, so if you guys want to see my videos, the subscription and the alert bell is the best shot you have to see them come into your feed. Thank you guys very much. Again, use this time to work on whatever you need, whether it's a weapon catalyst, whether it's an exotic quest that may go through one of the planets that's leaving, like Thorn. If you don't have Thorn, definitely knock it out, because Titan, it's out of here when Beyond Light launches. Same thing with Mars and Mercury and Io. Anything related to these planets over here, plus, of course, everything on the Leviathan as well, the Menagerie. All that stuff is going into the Destiny content vault in the fall. So if there's anything you need related to those, whether it be raids, exotics, catalysts, and all that, you got 8 weeks. Now's the time to get cracking. So thank you guys very much. Have a good one. I'll see you soon.